My name is Ofray, 27. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I started drawing when I was 3 years old. I was told that I actually just picked up a pencil and started drawing, but growing up, one of my favorite shows was Dragon Ball Z. So I just drew Dragon Ball Z all the time until I was able to draw it from my memory. I just kept drawing, wouldn't stop, just drew every day up until I got to high school. I would say in high school, that's when I realized that I needed to kind of elevate my ability or my skill. And so I started paying more attention to the human anatomy because I realized that even the creators of Dragon Ball Z, the people that would draw, I came to the conclusion that they had to have an understanding of anatomy in order to have those characters in those different positions. I've always been a big fan of graffiti, and growing up, it was something that I kind of had an obsession with, so I would practice it. So I would definitely say the more abstract the paintings I do, they're more colorful, they have more of an intensity to it. I would attest that to my background and being from Newark. Originally, I went to a college called Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I was out there on an athletic scholarship running track, so I wasn't really focusing on art too much. But midway through, I realized I wanted to pursue art. So I left the school, took a semester off, and attended the School of Visual Arts in New York. I think the transition of coming from a school, I would call it in the boondocks, because that's really where it was. It was an environment I wasn't used to. But transferring from that school and then having to attend a school in New York where I had to commute every day to get to class, it definitely caused me to open up more as a person because I'm more reserved in my nature. So, having to ask questions because I was constantly lost, trying to get from point A to B, and then having to attend a school where everybody around me was talented, whether it was in painting, drawing, their writing ability, doing digital work, everybody was talented. That caused me to elevate my intensity as an artist. I remember I came home one day and I told my brother that I needed to develop this persona, to kind of help me embrace my art. Because up until that point, I didn't even call myself an artist. I want to say in the last 4 years, I've come to accept that in every aspect of the word, I'm an artist. So I told my brother I needed a nickname. He looked at me, I want to say 30 seconds later, he said Svnciii. And so that's a play on my name, Sage, and obviously Leonardo da Vinci. So the way my mind works in terms of how I create all of this is that I don't necessarily see these paintings before they come to this point. I see figures in motion in my head, and then through that, I'm able to create frames. And there's maybe about 4 or 5 frames that I see at once, and I pull it together, and I'll sit down and come up with a quick sketch, and then I'll have a model or a friend or whoever I work with pose in a bunch of different positions involving those sketches I came up with. From there, I start to come up with the idea of the mood, and the mood, which is basically the background for me, or whether it's an abstracted painting in terms of brush stroke, or if the face is actually painted in, because for my abstracted pieces, I don't paint the face in. But the mood of the painting is always what I'm going through internally, as well as what the model is going through. So it's a means for me to create through exploring internal avenues the model and I are taking. In this current moment, I'm finishing a few series. I'm working on 3 different series right now. My goal is to get my paintings into galleries, wherever they're accepted. And while pursuing that, I'm also heavily interested in tattooing. I do have a small background in that, a little bit of history. And so I plan on pursuing both. And while doing that, that's just going to give me the freedom that I need as an artist. Because if I'm not actively pursuing my art daily, then I don't necessarily feel complete as a person.